But one stock that is in focus, and probably a stock that is moving on the back of order wins, KEC International, up nearly 7.5% in trade. Orders worth 3,000 odd crores is what the company has bagged. Before we talk to the management about the outlook on the order momentum, what's the order book trend looking like? Joining us is Anushi Vakaria for more details in terms of what else we should be talking to the management about. Anushi, over to you.
Hi, thanks for that, Hiral. So it's a substantial order win that we are seeing for KEC International, roughly about the size of 3,240 crores or odds. So at this particular orders that we are seeing is for building a transmission line in UAE is what we are looking at. Other than the company will be supplying towers, hardware poles in the America as well. So with this order win in place, the year-to-date order wins, if we look at that, stands at 11,700 crores. The company had given a guidance of 30,000 crores. So the first question would be on the kind of upside that we are seeing in terms of where the guidance is and where the order wins are coming in picture, considering that the second half is heavier in terms of where the order inflows are considered. If you look at the order book positioning as of the first quarter end, the order book stood at 34,409 crore, and this going ahead, they have about 1.8 lakh crore worth of tender opportunities going forward. So interesting space to watch out for, considering high opportunities going forward. In terms of geography breakup, also domestic contributing to about 65%, while international makes up for 35% of the mix of the order book that we are seeing. In fact, the order book over the years, the trend has been on the healthier side, from 29,644 crore to FY25, the number coming in at 33,398 crore. Just a quick recap on the first quarter numbers. If we are looking at, revenue was up around 11%, while margins stood at 7% as compared to 6%. So this is the overall picture that we are seeing for KEC International in terms of where the order inflows are headed.
In fact, I'm going to start off that conversation with Vimal Kejriwal, Managing Director and CEO of KEC International. Mr. Kejriwal, thank you so much for joining in. I want to ask about your order win guidance, really, because you have a guidance of order inflows of 30,000 crores. About 40% of it is already done, if I'm not mistaken, close to 40%. Are you going to up that guidance?
Good morning, Tamanna, and thank you for having me. You're right, our guidance is 30,000. I don't think right now we're in a position to up the guidance. We have done around 11,600 and odd crores. And we have around 5,000 crores of L1. So hopefully we should be able to meet our guidance. Incidentally, our guidance is 20% up from last year. So I think that's where we are today.
No, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Now, this new set of order wins, 3,243 crores. It has 400 kilowatt transmission lines in the UAE, but there's also supply in the Americas. Can you give us any kind of a breakdown of this, timelines, any details that you can add?
So largely the contracts are from the UAE part of it. It's what they call a Gulf interconnection lines we are doing, linking up three countries in the Middle East. So large part of the order book, order intake is from there. Rest is from our Brazil and Mexico plants for supply to Brazil, Mexico, and to the US market. And as far as the main transmission line order is concerned, it's a 21-month order. So we will have to start executing it very quickly.
Okay. Mr. Kejriwal, good morning. Hiral on this side. 21-month order, how much of it will be recognized in the current financial year, and how much of it will go into the next financial year?
Still, largely, Hiral, it would come next year. We will start working immediately. And I think at least some part of it, I don't think, honestly, I don't have the numbers right now, but some part of it will definitely come into Q4 of this financial year. But large part would come in the next financial year.
Apart from this, if you have to look at the business, when the outlook for the non-T&D business. Last quarter, we spoke about cables and oil and gas segments that did see some bit of a dip. How will that shape up in subsequent quarters now?
So oil and gas is still not doing great. I don't think there are too many orders coming in. And also there's too much of competition in the India part. We have been focusing on the international market, and we have bid for a couple of projects in the Middle East and Africa. In fact, Africa, we are doing 2 projects right now in oil and gas. Middle East, we are hopeful that we should get at least 1 order during this financial year. Cables is doing well. Okay, we have projected a turnover of around 2,400 crores for the year. So I think we should be able to maintain that guidance for the cable business.
What is the breakup right now of international versus domestic orders, Mr. Kejriwal?
So I think international right now, if you look at the order book, is around 45% and domestic is 55%. But if you look at the order intake this year, international I think is roughly around 60%. So this year we got more orders from the international market than the domestic market.
And what are the regions which are primary? You mentioned Africa. Is Africa the new growth engine? Or will it be the Middle East? Middle East continues to be the biggest.
It will be Middle East would be the biggest, followed by the Americas. I think we are seeing a lot of traction happening, notwithstanding whatever we are hearing in the market on tariffs and all that.
By the Americas, I'm assuming you mean Latin America, South America, or you're talking about United States of America as well?
It includes all three. For us, the market is Latin America. Basically, it's South America. Basically, it's Brazil. Okay, let me put it this way. Brazil, Mexico, and US, all three of them.
And the US exposure, because you're saying tariffs don't matter to you, but what is the US exposure and what are you hearing so far?
So right now, I don't have the exact number. It must be maybe 20, 30, 40 million dollars, but we are negotiating some large contracts there. Please understand one thing, Tamanna, what has happened is on the steel imports, the US has put a flat 50% across the globe. Okay, so you're not at a disadvantage as compared to any other country in the world when you're trying to export steel into the US. However, since we have a plant in Mexico and which has a zero duty into US if you use the US steel. So suddenly we are finding that our Mexico plant is getting more orders and is becoming more competitive than other countries.
So, Mr. Kejriwal, one quick question. This year, your international order inflow is higher versus domestic. Taking that into consideration, is this the strategy going to be to move to that margin guidance of 8 to 9% as well? Because export contracts usually are high margin contracts to an extent. So is that the game that you're looking at?
So, Hiral, that does not apply to us because for us, what happens is that each contract has a different margin profile. Okay, so sometimes the orders which we get in India may have a higher profile than in international. So I don't think it's the margin part which is driving us to international. It's just the market.
Okay, so it's just the market that is driving you to the international markets as well. So this is going to be interesting to watch out for in terms of what pans out from here on. But thank you, Mr. Kejriwal, so much for joining us on the show and discussing what it means. Tamanna, what's interesting over here is, from what he's saying, is that oil and gas is not really picking up yet. And that had seen the degrowth of nearly 52% in the previous quarter as well. So that is going to be the pain point. The other aspects of transmission and distribution are picking up, and the guidance remains absolutely strong from here on as well.
Yeah, but I was interested in knowing that he's not too worried about tariffs, and 60% of order inflows are coming in.
And this is the first time where they're seeing exports, which is higher than your domestic.
Yeah. So that's a whole different story. All right, time for a very special conversation this morning. N. Jay Kumar.